Hello everyone, welcome to my engineering channel. My name is Thomas, and in this quick Matlab tutorial, I'm going to show you how to plot a sinusoid in the time domain. Before we go through the actual code, let's have a look at the final result as usually. So I created a plot, which you can see here, and I'm going to show you how to plot a sinusoid using the classic Matlab sine function. Then I will present how to plot a sinusoid using the exponential Euler function. And then I'll show you one modification on a sinusoid. I will present how to delay a sinusoid. And finally, I'll show you two techniques how to window the sinusoid. So either using indices or the time range. So let's now create this plot. And I'm going to create a new figure first and position it here so we can see both code and the plots. Right. So let's now start with defining the sinusoid parameters. So I set the frequency of the sinusoid to 2 Hertz, the amplitude to 15 mils, and the initial phase to 0 radians. You can later play with these parameters and plot your own sinusoid. I just want to point out that it's good practice to show the units for your calculation. Okay, now let's move on and let's create the actual time array. And for that, we will need to define the sampling frequency. So as you can see, I set it to 1000 samples per second. And in this row, I am creating the time array from 0 to 2 seconds. And here I'm calculating the angular frequency in radians per second. So how to plot the sinusoidal function? First, I want to show you example how to plot it using the Matlab sine function. And the argument of this function is multiplication or product of the angular frequency and the time array. And we add the initial phase in radians. Okay, so let's plot it. We'll plot it with respect to the time array we created earlier. And I'm also adding some other plot add-ons such as title, X label, Y label, and so on. So this is our first sinusoid. And I'm going to show you now how to do it using other way. So this is a technique called analytic representation of the sinusoid, and it's derived from the Euler's formula. And this formula contains exponential function. The argument of this function includes the imaginary unit, which is then multiplied by the angular frequency and time array. And since it is derived for the cosine function, we have to subtract the pi half angle to get the sine wave, not the cosine wave, right? So let's plot it, and we can see there is a perfect match with the previous sinusoid plotted using the classic Matlab sine function. Right, let's move on. And now I'm going to show you how to add a delay to the sinusoid. So as a delay, I'm using 0.1 second. It's a negative for delay. And if you use positive value, it will be for advance in time. So I add this delay to the argument of the sine function, and I add to the existing time array. So as you can see, now we can plot the sinusoid with the time delay. Okay, right, let's move on. So I'm going to now show you two techniques how to window your sinusoid. So first technique, if we know indices, for example, we would like to have our sinusoid plotted only between the 100th and 300th index. Then what I'm doing here, I'm basically setting the values outside of this range to 0. Okay, so this is how it looks like. So this is the result of the window applied to our original sinusoid. And this is the 100th index, and here is the 300th index. It can be useful for some signal techniques in engineering. I'm going to show you another way. So this is when we would like to window our sinusoid between, for example, 0.5 seconds and 1.5 seconds. And again, here I'm calculating the classic sine wave using the classic Matlab function. And again, here outside of this defined range, I'm setting the values to 0. But what I have to do here, I have to multiply the time, the starting time and the ending time with the sampling frequency. Okay, so this is how it looks like. So now I plotted the sinusoid only between 0.5 and 1.5 seconds. So this is also a useful technique for signal processing. Okay, and finally, let's plot the legend. And this is it. So this is a simple MATLAB tip how to plot a sinusoid using different techniques. Hope you like the video. Thank you for watching.